There was a time when Naga women worked from home and the fields, where men would go to war and make decisions for the family. Such was the culture for centuries in the Naga society. Fast forward to 2022, where women constituted half of the state's population. Today, a global celebration on the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women are being held. This day also marks a call for action to accelerate the gender parity. Significant activity is witnessed worldwide as groups of people come together to celebrate women's achievements or rally for women's equality. Celebrating International Women's Day, organized by Task Force for Music and Arts and Kohima Science College Jotsoma at RCEMPA, Kohima, in making gender society with no gender bias and gender equality towards a sustainable tomorrow, recognizing the contribution of women all around the world. The chairperson was Ms. Tumbeni Yanthan, Vice Principal of Kohima Science College, where the welcome address was presented by the chairperson. A poetry recital was delivered by Assistant Professor Dr. T.A. Kilitse of Kohima College, a special number by Miss Akolekiho, My Story by Miss Mercy Tetso of the Tetso Sisters, a guitar piece by Miss Imnayenla Jamir, an exhortation by the Principal of Kohima Science College Jotsoma, Dr. Lily Sema.
For it is not difference which immobilizes us, but silence. And there are so many silences to be broken. I want to thank TaFMA under the leadership of Tejameru for speaking. You don't need to be a woman to speak for and on behalf of women. And especially if you are a woman, let us take this day to make a fresh commitment to break silences and to speak. And with these few words, I would like to share my poem. It is called Words. Call me woman and make me a thing of beauty, pure, unblemished, when you need an ideal to love or a saint to worship, of desire when you want to sate your lust or test darker waters or move in blood.
Thank you, Dr. Fei Kenzo. It was a wonderful point for women, and you're a real poet. Thank you.
All the heart life can bring it, what it means. Well, there's no one else. Look inside yourself, like a rosy spread. Just trust the voice within, then you'll find the strength that will guide your way. You will learn to begin, just trust your voice.
To rise above the limitations of village life, my parents moved all of us to Kohima and put us in school in Don Bosco School, Kohima, so that we could receive the best education that we could at that point. After school, we moved to Kohima Science College, my alma mater. And from then on, to different universities in the cities. We all grew up at Dr. Bill Graham Road in Kohima, surrounded by nature. And our parents, school, nature, and church experiences shaped us into the persons that we now are. Like every Naga, we were immersed in music, and our living room was our first concert stage. Mom and Dad were both very strict disciplinarians, but we had an idyllic childhood surrounded by good music, Sunday school, choir, great food, many friends and cousins with whom we went on huge, fun picnics, and lots of photo shoots where we tried on different costumes. And yeah, what we missed in the village, we made up for through our parents who taught us about our culture, the ways of our forefathers, and we developed a deep sense of pride even as we grew in town. Mom taught us weaving, crafts, cooking, and our first songs, while Dad, he taught us to play the guitar, to play the tati, to cut wood, and even cut our own meat. We grew to be really self-sufficient, independent, and grounded young individuals. In the Tetsuro household, music and academics both received equal attention, though we were not really able to afford formal music lessons, especially for me as a kid. I really wanted to learn piano, but piano classes were not really affordable at the time. Instead, I joined a Singapore-based ad and content aggregator agency, and I dived into content creation and copywriting, which I really started to enjoy. But at the same time, with the advent of social media, my music and career really took off at that point. And even though I was in the middle of my preparation for the civil services exam, music gigs were really happening, and so much travel was happening alongside my studio job. So I finished my coaching, and then somehow I discarded my IAS dreams at that point, and to showcase Naga culture and my music really took over my life. But then life happened for me, and then somehow paved the way for music and events to become my bread and butter.
The United Nations theme for this year is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. In recognition and celebration of the women and girls who are leading the charge on climate change adoption and response, and to honor their leadership and contribution towards a sustainable future. Extensive researches and data has shown existence of proof of the impact of gender equality on the impending climate crisis. According to the United Nations, without gender equality today, a sustainable and equal future remains out of reach, and that human interactions with the environment are producing unprecedented shocks and stresses. It is felt in floods, droughts, and devastated landscapes and livelihoods. While many people and places have suffered for food, energy, environmental and financial crisis. These unsustainable patterns add to poverty and inequality, especially for the third of the world's population directly dependent on natural resources for their well-being, and create deep threat for future generations. And their efforts often intensify gender inequality.